Skyward Sword, a game vastly overlooked and often bashed about on a constant basis of disapproval and disappointment, is seemingly to be teased to be coming to the Switch in HD. Why is this game coming before others? Could this actually be a good game? Good questions. Let's discuss them. Within the past 2 days, Ishiiruka has made an appearance and teased to an alleged Skyward Sword HD appearance to be on the Nintendo Switch. Many people I personally have seen reacting to the game seem less than understanding and or confused as to why such a game would be brought onto the console. I know a lot of y'all have been wanting and waiting for a port of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD to be brought to the Switch, but honestly, they just got their light in the Wii U era, so I'm personally okay waiting for them to come over after Skyward Sword gets some love. I kind of just wanted to talk today about my personal thoughts on the game specifically and everything that has been surrounding its reputation for so long that I often feel is completely blown out of proportion and quite honestly often disrespectful to a game that is honestly incredibly amazing. I hope you guys like more of this rant style, opinionated type of piece as a change of pace from what I normally do. This game has just meant too much for me to continue to sit by and sit on the sideline and let other people make videos of the same vein. So sit backsies and let's begin. Deep breath. Oh wait. Now, before we begin, I'm going to say right now that you have a right to feel however you want to feel about a game. However, for me personally, I will not be able to take your opinion as serious if you have not played a game for yourself in its entirety. I already know that the same old Eagle Raptor inspired complaints are going to come flying out in the comments, and quite honestly, unless you have played the game to determine the good aspects from the needs improvement aspects, I cannot fully engage in discussion with you on this topic, as there is a fundamental flaw, you could say, in your personal experience. This doesn't go just for Skyward Sword, this applies to every game ever, myself included. Now that the heavy stuff of disclaimers and whatnot is out of the way, let's begin our hype for a possible HD Switch creation of one of my favorite games ever. Obviously, I am a big fan of the Legend of Zelda series, Skyward Sword actually being my favorite of the series for many reasons that I feel that you should be able to experience for yourself if you have not done so already, hence why I am so incredibly thrilled to hear that this may be making its debut on Nintendo's most recent and beloved console. The music is light years beyond what Zelda's soundtrack was capable of back in 2011. With the help of the newly launched Zelda Symphony that has toured all around the world for 5+ years, including recently in Japan. When you hear that high brass come in for the first time, presenting the Skies theme to you, or you hear a beloved character's theme song brought to life with actual live recorded soundtrack, it's a feeling like no other. There's no way I would ever want to backtrack from this grandiose presentation, which is slightly why I felt a bit sad at first when I learned that Breath of the Wild would not include a main overworld theme cheering you on from the background constantly. But you know what? I played Breath of the Wild, and though the music was so different and much more minimal, it placed a different impact on me that I had expected. And now I come to appreciate its soundtrack for its uniqueness. Just as I do with different aspects of each Zelda game, they're each so different, and I think that's why I have such a deep respect for Nintendo and not being afraid to be different. However, this leads to probably one of the biggest complaints of the game that many do not understand for some reason, which is the motion controls. The motion controls have been a main point of the conflict surrounding the game, many saying that they could not comprehend the controls for whatever reason, and or that they did not want to fully put their energy into a game, such as sitting upright, giving yourself enough room to play, or even playing while standing up. I'm not sure if the main basis of these arguments were with individuals who bought a Wii Motion Plus adapter to plug into their controller once they were made, or if they bought the actual controller with the Wii Motion Plus built in. As someone who's personally been using her same old special edition golden Wiimote with the Wii Motion Plus built in, I've had no complaints, problems, or concerns with the controls or even standing up to play. Then again, I was always the kid who was most excited to get to gym class or to go to track practice. So maybe if you're wanting to be more sedimentary, boring, cough, then yeah, perhaps you have a reason to complain, I guess. Honestly, it came down to your coordination and your ability to remember that there was a freaking recalibration button that you could press to make your life so much easier. I don't know if y'all tried it or not, but it's a lifesaver. Now, a point many people bring up that is completely valid and understandable point is for individuals who are disabled or who are unable to move around to play the game. As much of a valid reason as this is, we have to think back that this was in the era of the Wii, the Kinect, and Sony's, well, this was in an era of getting up and moving around, and it was a large point of the reputation of this era. Another factor that possibly people could have against the motion controls would be that they are left-handed, and Link was actually made right-handed for this one game, which I can understand the frustration of those individuals who couldn't learn to play the game the way it was made. Would it be cool for this next installment to simply have a left or right-handed option? Of course. But to say that people still wouldn't complain about having to actually move their poor arm, I mean, you'd be mistaken. Guys, honestly, the dungeons, the bosses, the main mechanics for the game in general are designed for the motion controls. And quite honestly, I feel like if you were to take away the ability to use the motion controls, you would be doing a disservice to the game and its ingenious design. I understand if some of y'all want to have a buttons-only option, but I'm going to say now that there will probably be people complaining that the button experience is a bit different than other button-designed specific Zelda games. What do you think of the controls, though? Like, how coordinated are you? How not coordinated are you? I'll definitely be streaming this game one way or another, so if you want to see how a pro does it, stop by my stream. Or not. I mean, it's up to you. The next two topics I am perhaps the most excited to be able to share with everyone now about this game and that I have this channel is I'm just so excited to share the mix of just how much lore is put into the Zelda universe and the manner in which the story is delivered and presented in a means to go back into time and establish the entire base of the series' backbone and witnessing the birth of what makes the Legend of Zelda, the Legend of Zelda. The characters we come to know in this game are some of the most unique, boisterous, and memorable characters of the Zelda series. I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, so I'll try my best to stay spoiler-free. In this game, it's perhaps my favorite incarnation of Impa, just over Ocarina of Time's incarnation. Her wit, determination, her ability to put Link in his place, it was an aspect I was not prepared for in a character, but I greatly came to love by the game's end. Girahim is perhaps one of my favorite antagonists of all time in any game, taking over that crazy but overly zealous servant role from Zant in Twilight Princess. By the end of the game, you certainly come to feel a bit bittersweet for his character, though knowing he is completely crazy and delusional in his tasks and in his duty. Fi is, for some reason, made a huge meme among the Zelda companions, which I can understand to some degree, as she quite honestly is a spirit, fairy, computer, calculator, robot lady who doesn't have much personality of, say, a human, like we have seen with other companions in Zelda games. However, if you actually play through the entire story and you see her character arc come in full circle, come in completion, it is honestly one of the most touching aspects of the entire Zelda series, from the beginning of the timeline to the very end, or just to the most recent game. And I swear, if someone brings up the complaint that she was annoying with the "Master, the batteries in your Wiimote are nearly depleted," oh my lord, could you please just change your freaking Wiimote batteries, you lazy chump? Sorry, I didn't mean to call names, but really? You're going to blame her for your lazy self? Really? There are a few more characters I would actually touch on, but as seen as there are so many people who have not actually played the game, I will refrain from commenting on them or their impact on the series, but just know that they each have their own respectable input into the series that I hope you can experience for yourself. However, we certainly can talk about Link and Zelda and how they are absolutely my favorite incarnations of all the series. Link and Zelda in this game are childhood friends from the very beginning. Zelda is a carefree, spirited, kind-hearted, bold, and daring young lady who is not afraid to stand up to people who are doing the wrong thing. She's also sort of a surrogate motherly type voice into Link's life, as he's lost both of his parents and basically lived at the academy his whole life. Zelda herself had lost her mother to a horrible sickness, so is able to relate to Link in a way herself. Zelda complements Link's shyness and laziness with her upbeat and feisty self, in which the two are absolutely adorable. This being said, their genuine friendship and bonding you get to experience in the beginning of the game or tutorial really becomes the main driving force of why you want to set out in the entire adventure to begin with when Zelda is taken, and that's because you want to save your best friend. This is more than just a damsel in distress game, as Zelda is on her very own journey all throughout the game, which you can experience after the game in a way of its own. And it's quite honestly so heart-wrenching when you constantly find out you were just too late to be able to reach her. The way they grow as friends and their story arcs of children learning how to become adults so incredibly fast is a key factor to just how important this game was to me in my personal life and growing up. Again, no spoilers, but the way the game sets up the rest of the Zelda series truly brings about a sense of nostalgia and freshness all at one time. Because of playing Skyward Sword, I can now go into almost all the other Zelda games and truly appreciate key elements of that storyline because I know where they come from and what they've been through. I know that's been a long-winded description of my love for the story and the characters, but honestly, I couldn't contain myself. In ties with the lore and setup of this game, another point of complaint for some people has been the overworld and traveling areas as a whole and their sparse source of interaction or activity. Skyward Sword is a game that I would consider like any other Zelda game in which you have an overworld, which is the sky, being mainly a source of minimal interaction and used mainly as a means for traversing to the next area. However, the areas within themselves are not much more populated with a vast variety of NPCs either, as they were mainly uninhabitable and unreachable by the Hylian race. When Skyward Sword was released, it was put out alongside Elder Scrolls, which was a huge achievement in the gaming design of open world. And though Zelda had a sky is the limit type feel and design, the fan base almost wanted a Skyrim design, not a linear classic design again. Hence why we got Breath of the Wild. My main response to people who try to still bring this complaint to me is that if you don't pay attention to the lore of the game and how it's set up, it's going to seem barren and alone for no reason. However, if you were able to understand that you, as Link and Zelda, are the only two people to set foot on the land that I won't call Hyrule yet, for the first time in thousands of years, then you can approach the game from a more Metroid Prime, alone in the wilderness type adventure. Again, when it comes to the sky, the goddess sent the remnants of the humans or the Hylians skyward on an outcrop of land to save them last minute in battle. Not a continent, not a country or a state, but an outcrop. Do you know the definition of an outcrop? It's a rock formation that is visible on the surface. That doesn't mean a whole lot of land, but listen, you want to try to send one skyward with your own powers and tell me how easy it is to put a whole bunch of people up on that in the sky? Let me know. Just kidding. We know you can't do that. But really, my friends, if you just let the story do the talking and experience the tale that the game has to offer you versus your expectations of how it compared to other games at the time, you'll likely enjoy it more. Zelda is notorious for making you backtrack and revisit the same areas with different challenges and spins each time in so many of the games. When people bring another argument to me saying that they can't understand why the game had them do that, I don't really understand it because when you think about it, both Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, even Ocarina of Time, had you going back to the same areas in different scenarios as well. Majora's Mask literally had you reset time over and over again to sit through the same dialogues from the same characters, and yet somehow that game is still praised. Honestly, enough time has passed to where this love for the game is due to come out, just as Wind Waker was bashed at first and is now being praised. I think if you look past from what others are saying and try it for yourself, you'll have a better grasp on what you've been missing and what everyone has been talking about, whether good or bad. And again, Nintendo has done an amazing job at hearing the fans and creating something that we have really, really wanted with the new trends of games in this era, which has been open world games. They delivered. However, that does not diminish the impact that Skyward Sword has put on the timeline, and it really does truly deserve the spotlight that it has been due. Overall, I hope that none of this comes off too incredibly rant-like or biased, but then again, there is no way I could come across as biased as some of the people who have been irrationally hateful to Skyward Sword for years and have turned so many people against the game that they have never even played. I think that when you have a voice in a gaming community, or really any community in the world, you should take into account that you will impact so many people, and oftentimes they will take your passion and or disdain and amplify it to such ridiculous levels that it becomes unhealthy. I honestly urge those of you who have not played the game to go in with an open mind and heart and see this game for its unique additions into the series, just like others have in the past and in the present. If you have played the game and finished it and still didn't understand what it was going for, let me know in the comments below. If you started it and didn't finish it, I highly suggest that this time around you do. In reality, each Zelda game is like a child of ours. It's wrong to say that there's something incorrect with one game compared to another in the series when none are made to be alike. I honestly hope that we can come to understand that and see that there is art in each one. Whether you're excited for this game or not, let me know what your favorite games in the series are and why. What memories do you have that you hold dear, new or old? I'm not sure how y'all will take this type of video, but know that I do not have any ill will or mean intentions when it comes to me making opinions or rants like this. Honestly, for me, it's been so hard to sit through these past 7 years of constant bashing and bandwagging on a game that is so magnificent in its own right. I think it was beyond due that I would say a little in its defense and hopefully not be as harsh as the opposing viewpoints have been. If you like these kinds of videos, let me know. Like I said, I'm trying to experiment with new forms of content, and if this benefits anyone in a positive light, I would be happy to try my best to make more like this. Thank you all for watching. Thumbs up if you liked this video, thumbs down if you didn't. I appreciate the feedback either way. That's pretty much it for now, guys, but as always, my friends, stay awesome, stay beautiful, and stay savage. Ta-ta for now.